Hi guys, welcome to the video. I wanted to create this video because of stress in trading, stuff I face every day in trading, and I think it's an ongoing process to how to handle this kind of stress. And last week, as you can see here on the top, I had some really kind of bad trades and unnecessary trades during the day, especially here at Alpha Futures. It started with kind of a mistake, but as my stress built up during the week quite a bit, I wasn't really able to act. I wasn't really able to make a decision, kind of basically like frozen. This is stuff what I know and what I've experienced before, and this is a kind of how can I explain this in the best manner? This is a kind of a pattern what comes up all the time, not all the time, but over and over again. So what I'm trying to say is stress is something dominant. Stress is something which will come again as well. And I wanted to talk about this a little bit as I do this now for a very long time. I think I got the track record to talk about this. I'm in the trading business now for a long time. And when it comes down to show up, let's say to show results, I believe that I can also prove the fact that I'm able to deliver performance with consistency. But again, the struggles I have as well, and this is why I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Maybe you can relate, and I wanted to share with you what I'm doing to kind of try to fight my kind of, let's say, mental, psychological up and down swings. So the title of this kind of process, or this is basically that we need to master our mind, and I believe that we can conquer stress for peak performance, but also to find balance, because performance itself is just a very, it's maybe a very very short period of time, but overall we need to strive for balance, a work-life balance, and consistent performance. And this is, I believe, the most important thing what we need to look out for. And as we face risk in trading, I think it's very very important to be able to find the right balance between trading, executing trades, and also the work-life balance. And as I was talking about the risks, I'll start things first. So with a risk disclaimer, trading involves risk, and if you trade leveraged products, obviously there's even more risk involved. I've done a lot of research regarding leveraged products. It won't come up today, but overall, it shows the more leveraged you are, the bigger the likelihood is that you will go bust. This is not just me. This is not just a coincidence. This is fact. And just to remind this, so if you're a trader in the futures industry, if you trade leveraged products, that leverage has two sides. The one which will work for you in the best way, and the other one, it will hurt you even more if you're wrong, right? So having said that, let's dive into it. So I'm writing about myself here. I think that you will be able to relate to this. It's just not what I'm trying to make this kind of objective, because overall this is what I'm doing for over 20 years. And and hopefully you will be able to profit from this. So what it should mean is that here it should be overcoming stress and leverage trading, struggle solution, and finding balance. Just realize that I need to move the screen capture a little bit to the right, but I will just keep on going right now. So let me have a look if I can change this real quick. Okay, it should mean finding balance. Okay, let's see how the next one looks, and that's basically what we're looking for. We are looking for, let's say, being this kind of perfect human being in trading. We believe in that we need to have the knowledge. We believe that we need to have the right technology in place, but also bring up the discipline every day. There's barely anybody in the world, I believe, who is as amazing as this person here. His name is Roger Federer, and he basically stands for all of this. He showed up every day. He was a hard worker, not on the track, basically on the field alone, but also in his training exercises. So he was amazing, was dominating next to a few people, the tennis sports for a long time. And sports is really comparable to trading as well. Trading, sports, golf, whatever you name it, golf, tennis, darts, at some level, it's not about talent. It's not about how much you practice. It's about really probably psychology and be able to recover from setbacks. So he's the guy, obviously a pure role model when it comes down to success. I believe that this is something we all strive, that we can function in a high pressure environment. And so what I would want to talk about is really a journey through risk, through the mindset, and also life, because all of this plays together, right? And if you have, let's say, a bad trading day, if you have really bad trading decisions, you will struggle a lot when you are trading in life. You will have issues, and so far, and so far this will always be a topic. So what I'm trying to say is the following: that obviously in futures with leveraged products, you will always have something to work on. There is not a single day, like for Roger as well, when you can really sit back and just relax, start drinking. This doesn't work. I believe that this is something we need to be able to improve over time. So when it comes down to leverage trading, I think that it is something we have to learn how to structure our day. It's something we have to learn to structure also our trading game overall. And this is something what I like to talk about a little bit more. So my struggles with the nature of leverage, I think it's quite normal or expected, but overall this is, I believe, something which you can foresee as well, that overall leverage has two sides. If you have a 10% 10x position, so you leverage your position 10x, you will make a lot of money if everything goes right, and you will lose a lot if it goes wrong. The problem is that small trades can turn into a nightmare, and initially it maybe starts small, and the issue will become way bigger, and at some stage it will be a heart-pounding nightmare. A heart-pounding nightmare is true, because our body basically doesn't know how to learn out of what's going on, because we're super stressed, and then this kind of fight or flight mode in the body starts to come up. So should I fight? Should I run away? Hey, there's a tiger next to me. What should I do? So this is kind of the psychological aspect, because as per human nature, we are not trained to trade. We are trained to fight, or we are trained to run away if a tiger shows up. So this is obviously something which I went through, which I go through from time to time as well. For myself, I really started to limit the leverage applied quite a lot. So really maybe 2x, 3x overall, but that's what I do on a daily business. What it does, basically, my fear and excitement level just went bazookaed, right? So basically it became really impulsive. And overall, what happened is, if everything goes amazing, I have these psychological highs. But if something doesn't go well, I really struggle on these lows. And overall, I think this is, I believe, quite understandable. But living through that and applying rules to improve isn't easy. I would like to talk about this more during this session. So there was some research being done basically as well. And the conclusion is basically that leveraged trading makes you feel very quickly that you're not in control. And this is quite interesting, because I've learned this over all these years, over these 2 decades as well, when I talk to traders, other traders, when I talk to my friends who trade as well. You can be the most I would say, grounded person, a numbers guy. When it comes down to trading, this kind of behavior isn't there anymore. So you start to really go crazy. You act like an addicted person. So addictive, it has an addictive nature. And this is something we need to try to get this addictive trading, this dopamine rush out of our system. I struggled through this quite a lot. And for myself, it always started with some normal, I would say, producing of performance. And let me just show you this real quick, because I mean, this is something I want to just open up while we talk. It starts basically with all the time the same, that I do a normal job, that I do trade normally, and in the end, I have such a high expectation of me that I need to produce every day, that I'm basically really running into issues. And these issues obviously are building up over time. This stress doesn't build up on one day. It's for myself, it builds up over a few days. And I realize that at these kind of stages, that I'm really trying to force the gains. I'm trying to force the results at whatever cost. I would like to give you one example, because I believe that this is the perfect example, and this is also the reason why I started to do this. I wanted to do this video here. I'm a big fan of prop trading companies. I love TopStep. And what happened here is that this is really one of the best accounts what I ever had. I'm not going for big swings, but I'm going for consistency, right? So what you can see here, I completed here 47 trading days. Out of these trading days, 44, I was able to end the day with $200 in profits. So far, so good. But what I realized here as well, so this is wrong. What I realized as well is basically that this success actually puts me under pressure, and so it had impact to my regular trading decisions as well. And on last Friday, I really realized that I had the same problem then on other accounts as well. And yeah, so trying to be perfect, trying to be having, let's say, try to trade like a machine doesn't work, and that's the reason for this video. So trying to be perfect doesn't work. If you trade leveraged overall, you will at some stage crash, and you will be able, and probably something what you will be able to accept small gains for big risk. And this is not me, this is here my best friend, and this is stuff he just sent me today, because he over as you can see needs some help. Because on the left you can see, for example, a nice result of a 6,000 euro. In this case, it's euro profit. But then it it starts to become a little bit more clear that the 103,000 is right now a nice balance, maybe, or equity. But overall, he basically runs a 43,000 euro negative balance. So you might say, yeah, but this is quite expected, quite planned. I don't think so. But on the right side, you can see also that he was way more down during the week. So this is really 1 week of trading for him. But you can see it's excessive leverage. It's excessive, kind of even a gambling addicted nature. And on the right side here, on this right screenshot, I had a look, and overall he was he was long and short in the German DAX big market, and overall, as you can see, he was down 60,000 on overall on the equity, which is realistically crazy. So how would we be able to kind of get out of this? Because he's not planning this, right? It's not that he starts the day and says, you know what, I want to lose 20,000, 25,000. He's a guy who manages multiple business, very rational, but trading, it starts to become different. And it starts basically, I think, with a few triggers. that at least for me and for him as well, maybe for you as well. So I have a few triggers which really start to hit me, and when this hits me, then I become angry, then I become a different person. And it could be that I'm overall, it starts always with the same. I'm leveraged. I'm probably over leveraged. So what it means is that I'm in a position that I shouldn't be. And actually, I know this, right? So I'm in a position, I'm leveraged, and I know basically that I shouldn't do this. Okay, this is how it starts. Then overall, maybe there is a movement against me, so I have the fear of missing out to add. Maybe I want to add, or it goes against me, so I will add more, or I will have to reverse. And at the end, maybe I will be able to, I will basically flip the positions from long and short, and in the end, the market did move, and I have lost a lot of money. So leverage positions always have the same ground or the same basis. It means that you have basically a margin you have to basically put margin into your account, and in the end, if you over leverage, there's a margin call. You will be over leveraged, and then you will be ending basically being tilt, meaning you will be gambling long and short. So if I start to leverage, if I try to cut a corner, this is a solid base for failure. And it happened to me on Friday. Maybe I'll show you this in the platform here. That I hope they will be able to open it. It started with me on Friday, and it started actually in the Dow, where I was when I was trading it. The market went down, and it actually started here when I entered the market, and I had a misclick. I was trading the wrong market. I was trading the Dow Jones instead of the micro Dow. Okay. Because the position was so big, I didn't want to close. Okay. So I was hoping basically during the sell-off that the market would return. If I would be with all my senses, I would have called it a day, closed it out. But what I did, I was hoping in the end, I was gambling here to get out. This is what you can see, this $223 win on Top Step. It was a gamble. It was a pure gamble, and it has nothing to do with trading. Yes, I did it right, I believe, or correct that I handled it, that I did do it on Top Step, but overall, bad trading, bad execution, and this bad stuff is not reflected here, because here you would say, hey, it's amazing. So lesson learned from me is as well that we need to apply really individual stop loss triggers. Some great platforms like Top Step X has this now. Don't want to talk much about it, but this is, for example, what happens to me. Small mistakes, trying to always be perfect, and then trying to force it, right? At some stage, I will end in a spiral. I will basically be not in control anymore, and and basically in the end, I will be triggered into impulsive reactions or actions that I basically will just try to force it. This is all bad. This all doesn't make sense. You don't do this in normal life, but in trading, leverage trading, you will do that. Another topic which often triggers me at some stage, this is also kind of understandable, I believe. I'm overconfident. If you really perform over a longer time, you start the day with some excitement. Happened as well in the last couple of days to me. I was up, I believe, this month around 70K or just on one account. So super great. And in the end, I start the day just trying to, hey, let's make a little bit of money there, but again, not working properly. And this is, I believe, the big difference, how we as traders treat the day or the business. If you're a heart surgeon or you're a brain surgeon, you're really prepared, or should be normally prepared, right? You go into the hospital, you prepare, you have a clear analysis of the underlying condition of the patient. In trading, it's one mouse click and maybe we crash a prop trading account, maybe we ruin ourselves in one over leverage trade. So what I really saw this week for me is that I'm trying to always seek for perfection, but I had a hard time to admit that I was just wrong. And I just put this into bold letters here, that I wasn't able to admit that I was just wrong once. And this is the kind of crazy thing, I believe, that I had to just to digest over the weekend. I think this stuff makes me humble, makes me really puts me to the ground as well somehow, because I realize what kind of mistakes what I'm doing. So this is kind of my kryptonite, you know. So one bad trade, the guy who always looks for perfection doesn't want to look bad streaming as well. This could trigger me, either that I have a anxiety to miss out, so FOMO, or this pushes me into over trading. So I think this is something. This is an observation which is obvious, which happens quite a bit, I believe, and happens to me sadly as well. So how basically leverage trading also can mess up your life, and I think this is quite important, and this is why I apply a clear structure. We'll talk about this later a little bit. A clear structure to my trading nowadays, because leverage trading can mess up your emotions and also your life, because overall, over trading, when you overtrade, you want to fix something. So we are not talking about greed. You want to fix a negative balance. So you will overtrade to fix a negative balance. You will overtrade to basically get a black zero on your account and not a minus 10,000 on the day or 20,000, whatever. So you want to fix something, you want to get back to the black zero, and you overtrade not to make a lot of money. So basically you will end in revenge trading, meaning that you hate probably yourself, everybody around you, and the market overall as well, even if you're just wrong once. And then overall, I will have issues obviously with sleep. And in the end, I will lose discipline. And this is a process which builds up. Again, trying to be perfect, trying to fix. Basically, this will end in over trading, and then basically, you know that you're wrong. You know that you basically risk a lot for nothing, and you will, not be disciplined anymore. And then basically, you will risk all for a black zero. What it does mentally to you is basically that you will be burnt out, because you have so much stuff in yourself which our human body, human mind is not trained for. As said, the body does not understand what's going on. There's a huge emotional stress, but we are not chased by a lion, and our heart is pumping like crazy because we have huge emotions, but the body cannot understand this. And basically what it means then in the end, that we will just be focused on what Bitcoin does also during the weekend, and we will basically skip relationships because it's not important anymore, right? So this will lead to a clear burnout. You will basically go belly up. I was there once, and I will try to not go back there again. It was just a very, very good learning experience for me, and the results I will show you in a few slides. So what we basically need to try is really that we need to work on long-term stability. We need to make sure that we are able to perform long-term. This overall brings us, let's say, we will just be able to produce reasonable results, but again, long-term over short-term excitement, you know. So to me, it was always the same. I was always the guy in trading who wants to do perfect, you know, who was able to produce, as I showed you, you know, I want to be this guy here, and I want to do this not on one account, I want to do this on 20 accounts, and plus my personal accounts, you know, as you can see, I trade these personal accounts quite a bit as well. So it's not small money, right? So it's not small. So as you can see, there's a lot of pressure cooking, and so it always was the same, trying to be perfect, had a loss, and I became angry. And then it starts to build up, you know, you start to revenge trade, and then in the end, it's like a snowball. It starts to build up, and you will go bust afterwards. I mean, I do this now a long time, so I'm able to avoid this, but it happened to me quite a lot. So what I'm trying to say is the following: stress didn't just infect my daily profits and losses; it also invaded my life, and it will have effects on your life. So I would go angry. I would start to be angry at everybody because I wasn't able to really understand why I would lose this one trade. In the end, it will isolate you, and it's an addiction. Okay, I believe it's an addiction. There's a lot of very positive stuff in trading. And I think it's not just the money; it's also the freedom. But this stuff you have to learn, and I have to learn as well. And I'm will to basically put in the work here, also for 15 years, 10 years maybe, because then I realized that I just have to do that. So talent alone is not all. So here's a perfect picture, I believe, that if you always want to be perfect, you have the perfect setup, you have the perfect mindset, you start and you have all the cards on your side. In the end, if something goes wrong, I would go full angry mode. I would go really super aggressive. And then it will end with a lot of chaos in my mind and also on my account. It looks here so simple and obvious, but in the end, if you really live through it, and you live through it a couple of times, you will learn that you need to do changes. You know, as I mentioned, trying to be perfect, trade goes wrong, rage, really enrage, I lose control. Plan is basically being ditched. Leveraged made it worse. Small errors become huge losses and fueling my anger spirals. And we could not talk about, Christoph, it's you alone or whatever. I tried to just to show you this, that a couple of years ago, there was this so-called LTCM, long-term capital management, and this was basically created by two guys who won Nobel Prizes. And I'm just looking for the equity curve, and this is basically the equity curve of long-term capital management. And what you can see here is that basically they had one trade who basically blew all the account. So it was 4 years of work, obviously great work, with probably way too much risk, and basically killed everything. And in the end, everybody lost a lot of money because these guys weren't able to manage risk, right? So arrogance combined with not a clear mindset will also basically result in this. So perfectionists, paralysis, freeze or overreact. And there's some study as well, and City Traders Imperium, who said the same. The result is quite simple. This kind of, I would say, lack of expected results would lead to, at least years ago, to destroy discipline, more losses, and feeling like a failure, and because I was so much focused on my profit and losses. So let's talk about the positive stuff, okay? Because I think if you trade normally, you should have seen this before. If not, I don't want to lie to you, probably you will live through this as well. The beautiful part of this is that it makes you, I think, somebody who is able to manage stress way better in the long run. But obviously it's never beautiful to lose money or to be wrong. So how to bounce back as a trader? So I tried to work really on my mental part. I really built up emotional regulation. I was trying to become way more self-aware, write up what's going wrong, and to be able to accept the uncertainty. In life, in professional business, university, business, your job, maybe even with your friends, the one who's the most beautiful, the one who's the most successful are the superstars. Overall in trading, it's it's basically the opposite. It's not about being the most beautiful, always the winner. It's about to be consistent and to be able to be a good loser. So accepting the uncertainty and accepting losses is, I think, key. And it's hard, but it's something I'm trying to work on every day. So what I'm trying to say here is the following. It's a process. Work on accepting failures and uncertainties, and you will over time become better. Detach from the outcomes. Focus on the process. The profit on one day, on one trade isn't important. I know. This is theory. I just described you the Friday where I was basically willed to lose one of the most beautiful accounts what I ever had for nothing, right? So focus on process over the profit, and and a loss could act like like something you would be able to learn a lot. To do this, it just will help you. It will help you to balance in life. It will help you to basically balance your anger. And I think balancing the anger is super important, because overall it's just trading, it's just business. Yes, you want to make money, but in the end, it's not worth it. It's all about your life, not only about the work. Yes, I do enjoy my work a lot, way more probably than most of the people, I believe, because I really love it. But to have a work-life balance is just key. Okay, some hacks about work-life balance. So work less than more. Okay, so I try to really trade 2.5, 3 hours a day. Not only look at the screens all day, all night, because overall you won't be able to focus anyways. The time window of performance is so small. And it's not me, it's everybody. You know, you have to be very, very disciplined, and setting a time window is really I think very, very important. I would like to give you some examples. As I live in Europe, I was always trading the morning hours in Eurex 15 years ago. Okay, and I was performing quite well, and the longer the day lasted, the worse I got. Yeah, more emotional stress during the day. Maybe there was some friends, parents, whatever, calling me. Stress built up externally. In the end, it was just over trading. So trading less, but trading smart is key. Okay, add blocks for your analysis, for your homework, for market preparation, and the rest you will work per your, let's say, time blocks. Take time, build blocks for your hobbies, social time as well. Use date nights, reconnect with other people, because again, the market is not all. If Bitcoin goes up or down in the next 10 minutes, shouldn't affect my trading, basically not so much, right? So this is what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to tell you. Work a lot on your sleep routines. Sleep is key. If you sleep too less, it will cost you so much more money. And if you sleep too less, don't trade. It will cost you too much money. I think this is super important for me. I'm trying to do this really more and more. I'm not a perfectionist in that regard. In theory, I try to do this as good as I can, but I also have to be good for myself, really, if I make a mistake, that I'm not punishing myself. So this is something I believe which is also quite important. So risk rules that gave me back control. And this is, I believe, something which is extremely important. I believe, as I've been in the industry for over 2 decades, I believe this is for a big part willed by the industry, that people go into this kind of overdrive mode. We can talk about this maybe next time, but overall you will need to build in these rules, and I think this is super, super important, because I don't believe that we are a robot, and that's the reason why I think that this is something that we need to have this. So predefine daily loss limits. Okay, consistent size. So really have a predefined plan, what you want to do or what not. Okay, and I believe that there are some firms which do it quite well. There's this, I just bring this up as an example because they brought it in because it just makes sense. You know, for example, this global risk settings means that I have a so-called bracket order. Okay, I risk per trade in the beginning just $250. Can I do more trades than just one? Yes, but this is my preset. Okay, you will be able to work with daily risk settings, personal daily loss limit, and then you will be able to get liquidated or liquidated and blocked. Meaning, if you basically breach your daily loss limit, you will be kicked out of the platform. I think super, super important. You know, trade limits. Let's say 100 trades a day is too much. Shouldn't be that much. If you limit yourself maybe to 7, and you know before that it's just 7, you will be very, very clean on your trade execution. Go down here, contract limits. Let's say S&P, just 2, for example, right? So that you're able to limit the exposure what you give, because all these firms, all these brokers, all these prop firms, exchanges, they give you huge leverage. So just to give you one example here, the last couple of weeks I was trading a lot of Solana. I was trading a lot of Ethereum as well. And what happened to me, for example, I just wanted to buy 100 Solana. In the end, I was selling though. I was buying though 100 Ethereum. Okay, not such a big deal, but it happened with me for once as well. 1,000 Solana, instead of 1,000 Solana, I bought 1,000 Ethereum, and then this is then a 2 million or 3 million position. It's not so fun anymore. Okay, and this happened, I think, 2.5 weeks ago. Small mistake. In 2 minutes, lost, I think, $1,000 under 2 minutes, just of entry order issues. So bad planned. Okay, I did trade the wrong market. Then I wanted to exit, and in the end, it did cost me 1,000 in commission, because I just had a wrong entry of the order. Could be way better planned and play better done if it's planned properly. Okay, mistakes will happen, but I mean, to me, this is just one example what results can happen. Okay, so what I do for myself is as well predefined max trades and position losses. So I think this is super, super important, because again, I've seen it so often that people can trade consistently, but they risk too much. They risk too much for a small gain. They risk all for just one trade. And I believe the predefined max trade and position losses is the most important key. What I do for myself as well is that I basically trade different approaches. I have a fully automated portfolio as well. Plus, I trade for myself. And I just want to show you that it's just not just talk or whatever. It's really stuff which works out quite well. Yeah, so this is basically a report of last year. So, bam, this is basically an auditor in Liechtenstein, and this is basically an index. If you would have started on the aggressive version with a 100K account, it would have basically been a 46% performance to a max drawdown of 6%. So I think quite perfect. More conservative, this would have been 18-19% performance, 2.5% drawdown. So overall, what I'm trying to say is the automated approach combined with trading myself is something which basically helped me to, I would say, to perform. I mean, everybody can do this in what you believe, but I think it's important to have a game plan, to not put all eggs in one basket. I use alerts instead of only sitting in front of the computer. I mean, I love TradingView. TradingView sends me emails, sends me notifications. I mean, yeah, easy, relatively simple. So what I'm trying to say is a good structure, a good well-planned structure beats emotions. And I think this is very, very important. And what you can see here is basically if you have a checklist in place, you will be able to safeguard your account, safeguard your trading. And I think this is key. You will need to protect yourself, work out some rules which make sense for you. overall, we are all human beings, so the rules, your rules, won't be so much different than my rules. And my rules are max daily risk, maximum position risk, don't overtrade, and really look at your emotions if you are basically the driver in the seat or not. Okay. Tools and red flags I watch out now, or watch out for now, and have done or developed over the last couple of years. The journaling of the trades, but also emotions. I think this is really, really important. The weekly reflections. This is stuff what I do with you right now. What basically made it tough for me during the week, and an accountability buddy. I think it's always good to trade with somebody. It's just hard to find somebody who's a good fit. But if you find somebody, then it's something which is great. Stuff which you need to be aware, and I think to really have an open, let's say, sense as well during the day, during the week. As I mentioned to you last week, for me, it kind of built up. I was kind of tired. I had different stuff to do, and I just don't believe that you have a lot of stress in your day, you have stress with your family, and then basically you will be able to perform like you do if you are better prepared. I think this would be naive. So screen fatigue, basically, if you have not really, let's say, if you're very impulsive, if you basically start to ditch your friends, if you start to basically have signs of burnout, then I think this is something you should be careful about. I think that having daily sports sessions, which you maybe skip, is very important. Sleep is a red flag, and this is really stuff what you will need to think about. I mean, in reality, we have all these kind of all these kind of watches and maybe an Aura ring or whatever, but it will tell you how good was your sleep, are you relaxed or not. And in the end, it may all sound a little bit weird if you're a beginner, but in the end, bad sleep can cost a fortune. So it's about to build a mindset for long-term view, for long-term winning, and not short-term, let's say, gambling. And I think this is really, really important for me. So I have a daily routine which I'm trying to adhere so much as I can to it. Basically, it should keep me grounded, and this is something which I just bring up to some examples. This is an example what I wanted to show you here. So get out of the door. Don't spend too much time in front of the computer. There's nothing you will win. Go out, see green trees, see something green. I believe this is very helpful. Have a clear head. Journal. Really write up what happened. Emotional mistakes, trading mistakes. It's just important to have this. Do no live trades after a certain amount of time. Really have a smaller time window to execute. Other than that, work with alerts and don't spend too much time in front of the computer. Go out, hang out with your friends and family. Important. After a certain amount of time, after whatever, 6, 7 p.m. Really no screens, no TV, no whatever. Wind down, read a book, meditate, go to sleep, okay? There's nothing to win after a certain amount of time. The problem in trading is that hard work in the long run will also play out, but it's hard work, meaning to learn how to execute, how to improve, but not to overtrade. And this is the big issue, I believe, what we have. If you are self-employed or if you have work multiple jobs, the harder you work, the more hours you will put in, you will see some financial results. In trading, it's different. The smart person is the one who basically lives longer. The accounts live way longer. All right. So what I've learned from this fight over all these years is the following: that leverage is difficult. Okay. That trying to be perfect isn't key. It's basically about being good to yourself as well. Loss of control will happen, but we need solutions for this. Okay, we are human beings, and these solutions are having hard rules, working with technology partners, with prop firms with the right technology, with exchanges with the right technology, which supports us being a trader and not work against us. So if you have an edge in the markets, protect it. Don't go crazy. Don't swap your health for profits. Work on you. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And then leverage can work for you and not against you. Thank you very much, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I'm not I would say not a speaker, so basically probably there's a lot of stuff in this video which isn't perfect, but I guess over time I will probably develop here as well and become better. So where I'm here, so this is me again here, and that's my goal. I do love kind of this YouTube and also streaming. Frankly speaking, I love to trade in front of other people. This week again was difficult. Something which kind of built up, stress built over time, and I tried to be perfect. This week it didn't play out as I wanted. So this means go back 1 or 2 steps, build up some combine accounts with top step, try to trade smaller, build up confidence again, and don't go crazy. So this is my weekly recap, or kind of a recap what I have for myself, and hopefully with some benefits for you as well for this week. I wish you have a great Sunday, rest of the Sunday, and see you then the coming days. Thank you very much. Goodbye.